Football, soccer, foosball, beautiful game. The sport has been a global passion and activity since the mid-19th century. A game watched all around the world. An international language. Football has a strong history and tradition. A simple game that can be played in a street or park, to the Olympics, and in stadiums. However, since 1966, the English footballing national side has failed miserably at all major international tournaments, only getting as far as the 1990 World Cup semi-final. England are a nation that encourages sports to all ages, and the grassroots and amateur leagues are the most important factor in finding the next big talent in England. So who's to blame for this lack of success? The FA, the government, or local councils? We're here to find out the root of this problem. The earliest a young player can join a football team is 5 years of age. Players are then encouraged to play in competitive matches from the age of 7 onwards. Ryan Casaber, a coach from the Little Sports Coaching Group, and Jordan Taylor, a PE teacher from Manchester, believe that kids should have no pressure on winning at a young age, and highlight the changes that need to be made to youth coaches.
My sessions really are like fun, enjoyable, exciting, sociable, looking at all the different four corners, like the technical corner, we've got the psychological corner, the social corner, and obviously the physical corner. So I'll do a session which maybe one week be constant, it may next week be variable, and maybe around my environment, I try and make sure it's no pressure. That's one thing as a coach I think all coaches need to do.
And I just think more should be put into the coaches themselves. There isn't a centre as of yet. I know they've just opened St George's Park where the coaches have been able to go, and so you're not having the quality of coaches to teach the quality football that other countries are. If we focus on our coaches more, then perhaps we'll be able to teach the kids how to play football a little bit better.
I feel like we need to develop our coaches, look at the way we structure stuff. If we all sing from the same hymn, in 20 years, 10 years time, like I'm saying, you never know what our national team could be like. So I feel like once we've got that structure and base to our foundation, and think of an English style of being physical but allowing our players to play, we could do stuff. You never know. We have got a lot of talent coming through. I can see it at grassroots level when I'm going in different primary schools or when I'm just watching grassroots football or Sunday league football. So if I can see it, I know other coaches can see it, and obviously I know these coaches out there that are just like me that share the same passion. So if these coaches like me, then that's great. So hopefully in 20 years time, you never know, England could move up the ranking and give a good tournament.
The league and the FA, at the end of the day, they're all doing it for the love of football, and as long as the teams are giving 100%, the league's giving 100%, then you can't ask for much more. And there will be times when you feel like the world's against you, but that's football, and that's all the way up to the professional game.
The Football Association is to lose £1.6 million of public funding for the amateur game in England, after failing to reverse a sharp decline in the number of people who regularly play football. Sport England, the body responsible for distributing public money to increase sports participation, says the reduction is a clear message that football needs to change its grassroots strategy. Money is a key issue to keeping grassroots football from collapsing. Cassidy's FC, an amateur football team from Manchester, know all about keeping money coming into a football club. We asked Club Secretary Jack Lynch and Club Treasurer Stephen Sumner how difficult it is to keep money coming into the club.
Yeah, it's probably the biggest thing really, money, especially when we first started, try to find any money to buy a football kit and stuff like that, so that is quite difficult, and it's all about really seeing if the lads can help you out, really, see if they know anyone will sponsor us, and then we do an annual fundraiser in Cassidy's, a race night, and that usually raises quite a lot of money, and then obviously through signing on fees and stuff like that to keep the club ticking over, but it is a struggle at times, but it's alright.
Used to be like a lack of organisation, don't they, from the
Lack
FA
of
all the way
organisation
up.
and a lack of skills as well. I don't think there's good enough football coaches running youth clubs, youth teams. I mean, obviously, our manager's got FA qualifications, but I'd say he's probably the only one in our league who's got any coaching badges. So if there's not got people who are qualified to do it, training people, then how do you expect players to develop? many things that like council run football pitches are the most expensive pitches you can get, and they don't even look after them. So basically, for a small club like us, you won't be able to afford to play on a council pitch every week. I think they need to bring the prices down and look after the pitches, really. Because otherwise, as I say, how would we be able to afford to pay £100 every week on a football pitch? For an amateur club, it's not
referee
sustainable.
as well, isn't it? Got referee fees on top of that, so it's just too expensive.
Like any football club, all teams need kits. For a squad of around 25 team tracksuits and kits, it would cost you around £2,300 to kit them out in the latest gear. Teams also have to pay league fees and insurance, coming to around £550. Facilities for teams work at around £120 a week. Most leagues insist that the match and training wheels used are FIFA approved, which will range from £30 to £50. Many club secretaries and managers use their own resources. Cars and mobile phones, for example, are just some of the resources used, amounting to around £60 per week, coming to a grand total of around £3,000 per season. And that's without the half-time Jaffa cakes. John Lynch and Tommy Flynn have been followed in Cassidy's since the club's birth 2 years ago. They explain their view from the sidelines and what they think needs to change in the game.
Well, the leagues don't seem to do a lot. You know, I don't think they don't get any backing from any of the. I mean, the amount of money that's in professional football doesn't come through to the grassroots at all, not a penny. You know, they're actually paying through the nose for everything. And the leagues all should get together and do something about it and try and get some money from the professional game to drop down. Especially, I mean, these lads are all, you know, they're all in the 20s, but lads like Tommy here, who they should have the finest of coaches and everything when they're playing, the best facilities. This is what happens in other countries, but it doesn't happen here, it seems.
And you said before about the German situation. Well, if it works over there, you know, they should take a leaf out of their book and maybe, you know, transfer it over here. One thing that's been disappointing but maybe has improved is all your squad is out on the football pitch, you're ready to go, and there's no referee, you know what I mean, and some days there's no opposition, and that's very disappointing for a team. You know, communication, maybe make a phone call and say we've got a problem this morning or whatever, you know, or there should be a backup, there should be a secondary referee that you can call and say, you know, we've got a problem, we haven't got a referee, and that there's nothing worse than walking away with a good squad out and you know, no game.
Yeah.
So yeah, in answer to the question, you have to take a leaf out of these situations that work and, you know, get it over here.
Albert Jassanz is an amateur referee from Spain, currently refereeing in England. With over 10 years' experience and a great knowledge of the game, we caught up with him to discuss the difficulties he faces, and that he hopes refs are protected by the FA for the good of the game.
Well, I'm not from UK, so I got into refereeing in 2001. I'm refereeing in Manchester since 2011, 2 years. As a referee, you got the other point of view, and sometimes also you get paid and you stay fit, so it's 3 in 1.
Yeah. Great, yeah.
Well, I think before it was much worse.
Yeah.
Now it's much better.
Yeah.
But if we are talking in amateur football, I will get the pitches more flat.
Yeah.
And the markings better painted, because sometimes you don't see it. You don't see the marks, you don't see the lines.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult.
A bit harder.
Harder, yeah. And we depend a lot of the weather.
Yeah.
So I know this is difficult, but if we could find some way of keeping the pitches fit and flat and well painted, that would be great.
Definitely, yeah.
But for what I've seen in the meetings and in my booklet, I can say there is some kind of protection.
Yeah.
So if you send it, if you post it through, if there has been an abuse or something like this, I hope that player will be sanctioned for some matches. So I feel there is this kind of protection, but I couldn't assess it and I couldn't feel it yet. But I hope there is a good, proper kind of ref protection, because if not, that would be bad for the game and also for the clubs, because sometimes I see here the standard level is not quite high,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
So it needs to be this kind of protection because of for the game. Yeah.
The National Football Museum has recently come to Manchester. The museum hails all aspects of the game, from the professional level to amateur. It has a vast range of trophies on show and some vintage sports memorabilia. It really is the home of football. We wanted to know their expert opinions and what they thought about youth development at grassroots level, and how they think they would change the structure.
Any cut to grassroots funding in football, it's got to be a bad thing. We're always complain about the lack of English players and how England, never seem to be in contention to win a World Cup. If you're going to cut the funding, we're never going to have a chance, are we?
How important is it to keep grassroots football going, would you say?
Very important, because as I said, we spend so much money on foreign players, particularly in the Premier League, obviously. And if you can get the homegrown players and get them from an early age, obviously develop through your academies, then you're saving money, and also you're helping your own club out.
It's always important, because that's where they're going to pick up the next year's talent. I mean, even the biggest teams in the world, they all find the kid the first time playing on a park with one of the Sunday League teams. We have a video in there which is all about grassroots football. It's called Our Beautiful Game, and it's a month in the life of football. It's quite an interesting one, because it picks up grassroots and interlocks it with actual real, Man City playing Swansea at the same time. So it's always been important. If you want to develop talent, it starts on the grassroots.
Because obviously, because the Premier League make that much money, and the grassroots level, they just don't seem to get any of it. Well, the bigger clubs such as Manchester United, and Chelsea, they take a large scoop from the pot, but give very, very little back to all the other clubs.
I think it's a sort of double-edged sword. I think we've got a problem with is that maybe, this is only my opinion, but maybe I think that sometimes they grab everyone too early. So these kids get pulled out of grassroots and straight into a football team. They play for Man United, the Blackburn, and they're coached well and stuff like that, but they lose the fun out of the game as well, which is what makes the teams like Brazil and why they're getting brilliant players, and the African players are coming up, is because they're all having fun with the game and then eventually becoming more professional, where we put too much pressure on the kids. Usually nowadays, if you get picked up by Manchester United as a 10-year-old, you're not allowed to play for your school team anymore, you're not allowed to play for anyone else, and it becomes more pressurised than actually being grassroots, and people don't get a chance to do the skills, because Man United will want to teach their kids how to play the Man United way. If they go to Blackburn, it'll be the Blackburn way. Well, why can't they just play whatever way it is, and then you fit them into your squad, which is what other teams do.
There is an argument for making the game less professional. I don't think you could ever go back to that now, but it would be. I mean, if you can imagine a league where you could only use players in your team that were actually from your town, I think we'd see a very different league. I think it'd be more exciting and interesting, because at the moment, and it's been like this for 20 odd years, 30 odd years, the bigger clubs will buy the best players, Manchester United, Liverpool, City, Chelsea, they'll buy the biggest and the best players, and so the smaller clubs just cannot compete. It's impossible. It's such a huge amount of money in the Premier League that the biggest game in world football is the Championship playoff final, because of the financial incentive for winning it.
Jake Hartley, a sports scientist and football blogger who has recently come back from a trip to Qatar, tells us his thoughts on the current structure of the development of young players. However, he believes that grassroots level is not all doom and gloom, as he has seen different players develop, and grassroots is very important to the professional game.
It's very important for the professional game, because if you're talking about youth development, where they're going to play if there's no amateur football? That's where everyone starts. I mean, it was a long time ago now, but Ian Wright's a perfect example. He was playing amateur football till late teens, and he hadn't been picked up, and he took his chance playing for them, and he ended up playing for Arsenal, one of the best teams in the country. So it just shows that you need amateur football if you're going to develop young talent. Well, in football over in the Middle East at the minute, sports science is taking a key role in how they're improving their young players. I saw a few games when I was over there, and you can see that all the sports science is being linked into one to help them improve, and they're playing the right kind of football. And it's a country that not many people will think that the football's going to be that good, but it's definitely improving, and by the time the World Cup comes round in Qatar, it should be a great great experience for them all. There's been a recent youth football tournament over there which teams like Real Madrid and Manchester City played in, and the Qatari team actually won that tournament, so you can see that the youngsters over there are doing very well and they're only going to get better.
How important?
Everything. Waking up early, getting the kit out, talking to the lads, having the banter.
One, I think mainly it's for the banter, for the guys.
Well, it's great to see all the lads and enjoy watching the football, but it's to see all the lads who are all mates from being younger, or they've all known each other for years a lot.
Just like banter in it and keep it all mates and enjoy it every week.
To enjoy scoring goals, I guess, is the ultimate.
For it. Yeah. Just play about with the lads, so we kick about. I mean,
It gives you something to get up to on a Saturday morning, and then you've obviously got the football, which is a lot of fun.
Saturday mornings, just having a kick about when I get on.
Yeah. Don't know really. Hanging out with the lads. It's good meeting people. Didn't know anyone before I joined this club, so it's just like a whole squad of mates basically now.
For years, a lot of them. It's nice to see them gel as a team and play together and play so well, you know.
But yeah, Saturday mornings have been great. It's been a great league to play in. The standard of football is good.
With your mates as well, especially when you're winning, like us at the moment.
The crack with all the lads, hard working, bit of fun then on the day, and winning.
Yeah, we're getting value for money on the sideline, aren't we?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Tommy's the mascot.
Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah.
Very good.
Makes it a lot easier and better to get up.
But it's having the lads as well. If you've got the right group, then you're always going to enjoy your football, whether it's Saturday mornings, whether it's five-a-side. It's all about the lads who are involved.
Overall, as a country, we have to look at the positives at grassroots football. St George's Park cost £120 million to create and is the epicentre for coaches and youth development. However, in the Premier League, less than a third of the players are English. This showcases the drop in standard of all levels in English football. The views and opinions in this project have shown that there is a clear neglect in grassroots football in modern day society. However, it is the most important factor in finding the next big talent. Football will always be England's #1 sport, so let's just show it the respect it deserves.